Hey everybody, this is Kevin, and this is the Ask Kevin and Charlie questions that we're getting. So the question we've gotten a number of times is, how do you know when there's a bottom? Or it comes sometimes, is this a bottom? So these are the history of market ups and downs back to 1926. I don't know if graphs are very helpful in times of extreme stress and market panic and people worried about their jobs, but I'm going to do my best to try to answer the question in a way that I think is productive. Because the first question is, when do you know you're at a market bottom? The answer is we don't know. I worked as a new planner in '08, '09 and experienced this. And the interesting part about the bull markets and the bear markets, if we can get in touch with our frontal lobes and not the part of our brain that has just tremendous fear, is that the blue areas seem to last a lot longer. So the time periods seem to last a lot longer than the red, which are the bear markets or market corrections in some cases. So they seem to last longer. But the thing I learned in '08, '09 is every day you wake up and you say, is today the bottom? And then the market will keep going down. And then finally, when you're like, this has got to be the bottom, and then maybe the market goes down again. And so nobody rings a bell. As a matter of fact, there is one client in 2009, March, was in the office and said, is this a good time to buy? And we'll give Brad Bauer some credit because he's still a mentor to me. And Brad said, I don't know if it's the bottom, but it's a much better time to buy now than it was, 9 months ago. So I think that's why is it a bottom is probably the wrong question. The right question to ask is this an okay time for me to buy? Now, if you have cash and you say I have a 10-year time period before I'm going to need to cash this in, okay, that's 10 years is a good time period right now, especially in market stress. Then I'm going to go ahead and expose this money to the market. And let's say here in 2008, 2009, your market just started to crash and you bought, but you had a 10-year time horizon. Well, you not only went down more, but you went on one of the longest and greatest bull markets in history. And so if you have a 10-year time period where you're saying, I'm going to invest this money and I'm going to invest it for the long run, then it is a good time to buy. Now, will there be a better time to buy? No, nobody knows. So if all of this is behavioral. If you want to minimize your regret, what we suggest to do is to nibble, buy some. Market keeps going down, buy some. Again, this is only if you have the money for 10 years. You don't need to spend it. If you lose your job, this money should not be used to purchase. Bravery is smart with investing, but if you're going to possibly use the money in a couple of years to pay your house note or something, that's not bravery. That's something else. So the advice that I would give you is that if you're thinking about, is it a market bottom or when is the best time to buy, that's a tremendous amount of pressure to put on yourself, on us. It's just because it's unknowable. So the issue is what do you think will do better over the next 10 years? Do you think stocks will do better, or do you think bonds will do better? We're going to go into a mighty recession is what people are saying. That's very possible. I don't know. I think we're going to have a recession too. But if we go into a mighty recession, how long will it take companies to actually, stocks that is, owning companies, how long will it take that to do better than bonds, than treasury bills, which are, riskless securities, when the 10-year treasury bill is hardly paying anything? So the final thing I'll say in the framing part of it is that if you start with $1 million and you're now down to 800,000, you're thinking really hard about what will it take for me to get back to $1 million? How long will it take? I get that. The way to invest when you're going through these time periods and you have a long period of time is not to say, well, I need to get that money back fast. It's right now I have $800,000. What is the best way for me over the next 10 years to make the most money if you, again, have a long-term time horizon? It's not to put the pressure on that I got to get back. That's what everybody wants to know is when am I going to get back to even? And I get that. But if you're using the more rational parts of the brain, the question is, I now have this amount of money. What is the best way for me to get to my retirement goals 10 years from now? Now, I'm not saying that you have to invest more in equities. You can just hold on. I mean, that, is holding on better than selling equities? Again, are we here, or are we at the very bottom? I don't know. I don't know what it will be in the short run. I think to take the pressure off ourselves, though, we have to say over the next 10 years, what will do better? A bond that's paying 1%, or equities that have the chance to grow and increase their earnings and return dollars to the shareholders. Now, again, I don't know what's going to happen in the short run, but I sure do hope that the right decision for many of you is that stocks are going to outperform bonds and cash over the next 10 years. So thanks so much for watching. If you have questions, please send them to us. We love them. Thanks.